The surprising reality of modern AI conversations
Yeah.
is that they aren't just chats anymore. They're becoming transactions. Beat. Imagine an AI agent checking your actual calendar, maybe booking a 30-minute consultation and doing it all with a really professional voice in real time, seamlessly. This isn't some future tech concept. It's happening right now. And this deep dive, well, it unpacks how you can build this exact system yourself.
Exactly. Welcome, everyone, to the deep dive. This is where we tear into the technical guides so you don't have to. And you shared a really comprehensive blueprint on integrating n8n and ElevenLabs, basically charting out the architecture for a powerful conversational agent. So our mission today is to shortcut that build process for you. We're going to extract the critical architecture, the configuration steps you actually need for a fully functional voice assistant. We'll kick things off by looking at that conversational example, which is pretty powerful. Then we'll dissect the architecture, the brains in the hands of the operation. And finally, we'll explore customization, some advanced integrations, and importantly, how you can turn this knowledge into a serious business advantage.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The core idea here. It seems to be combining powerful n8n workflow automation with the advanced realism of ElevenLabs voice tech. When you put those two together, you create what they're calling a no-code voice AI agent. But we should probably be real here. When they say no code, what they really mean is the complex API stuff, the orchestration, it's abstracted away into visual nodes. You still need to understand the logic, right?
That's a critical distinction. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
more like low code power, not exactly zero code magic.
Yeah.
But the result, it's transformative. I mean, this thing can operate 24/7, handling pretty complex customer inquiries without needing a human to step in.
What's really fascinating, I think, is watching that intelligence actually work. Let's maybe walk through the Jarvis demo scenario they mentioned. So a customer asks, can you book a consultation call tomorrow? It sounds like a simple and natural language request. But the key thing is the AI agent immediately recognizes the intent behind it, the intent to perform an action.
Right, it doesn't just guess. This is where the magic of function calling comes into play. The underlying large language model, the LLM, it's configured with definitions of available tools, like get events. So it realizes, okay, the customer needs me to run this tool before I can answer properly. And it hits the live calendar, gets the specifics. And then it speaks naturally, saying something like, tomorrow, AI Fire is busy from 9:00 in the morning, but open between 10:00.
Your conversational flow is really key there. Once the time slot is picked, the AI just automatically collects the necessary info, name, email, phone number, and confirms all the booking details.
And it goes way beyond just booking. This setup shows off what they call an intelligent knowledge base. So if the customer switches gears and asks about pricing, the agent can instantly pull up the accurate information. Okay, for an initial 30-minute consultation, the flat fee is $150. It's context switching and real-time execution happening together. It's actively checking and booking right into a Google Calendar, all in like a fraction of a second.
Okay, let's zoom out for a second. How does the AI actually know it needs to run some external code just because the user asked to book a meeting?
Well, the system prompt explicitly defines the actions the LLM is allowed to take. It's given specific instructions.
Okay. So the prompt itself tells it which tools are available for which requests.
Exactly. Now let's dissect the components. The whole system, it's a remarkably efficient machine, really built on three main layers. First, you've got the front-end voice interface. That's ElevenLabs. It's the voice, it's the ears. It handles the speech-to-text, generates that realistic voice output, and crucially, it recognizes the action intent.
Okay. Then you have the back-end workflow engine, and that's n8n. This is kind of the operational brain and the hands, too. It manages all the business logic, connects securely to your different apps, processes data, and controls those real-world actions using APIs.
Right. And the sort of invisible glue holding them together. That's the integration layer. And it relies entirely on webhooks. You can think of a webhook like a secure, automated message,
Right.
like a text message sent from one application to another when a specific event happens. In this case, it happens when the ElevenLabs agent decides, okay, I need to use one of my tools.
All right, let's trace that lightning-fast journey of a customer command. We can imagine it like stacking Lego blocks of data or maybe a relay race. So, step one, the customer speaks. Voice input.
ElevenLabs converts that speech to text, figures out the intent, and this seems like the critical part triggers a specific tool activation.
That tool activation, it's basically a package of data, a payload, sent via that webhook. That payload hits the n8 PlayON server, which kicks off step 4. The n8 PES workflow executes. It runs its automation, maybe connects to Google Calendar, checks the availability. Step 5, n8n puts together the answer and sends the text response back to ElevenLabs.
And then finally, step 6, ElevenLabs converts that text back into natural-sounding speech for the customer. The speed is actually quite shocking when you hear it. It feels like just one seamless, immediate conversation.
Yeah, it's fast. So if we look at that connection point, that webhook, what structural piece really makes this whole dare relay system stable and secure enough for live transactions?
Well, based on the description, the webhook trigger acts as that digital bridge. It's the secure and required API endpoint.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, let's talk about building the actual intelligence, the foundation, which lives within n8n. Most professional builds, they don't start totally from scratch, right? They often use a pre-built JSON blueprint, like a starting template for the workflow structure. This definitely saves time, but it also brings up some important questions, I think.
It does. Like if I'm using a pre-built blueprint someone else made, am I just copying their security configuration without thinking? How do I actually ensure data safety when I'm linking my live Google Calendar, putting my API key in there? That feels like a real concern in this sort of low-code world.
Absolutely. Yeah, you really have to scrutinize those critical nodes. Within that n8n workflow structure, you basically see two key players. First is the webhook trigger node. That's just the dedicated entry point. It's the ears of the workflow, just sitting there waiting for that signal from ElevenLabs.
But the real intelligence, the brain power, that's in the AI agent node. That's the complex decision maker. It takes that text payload from the webhook, processes the language using the LLM, and then decides, okay, does this request mean I need to connect to the Google Calendar node, or can I just give a static answer, like the pricing info?
And probably the most crucial step in configuring this whole setup is actually writing the AI's job description. That's the system prompt configuration. This defines the agent's personality, is it helpful, friendly, professional, and it sets the rules for how it uses its tools.
Right, and this is where it gets nuanced, isn't it? You have to give really explicit instructions like, if an appointment is being requested, you must first check the Get Events tool and report the availability before you suggest booking. That kind of strict guidance seems vital. I still wrestle with prompt drift myself sometimes. Ensuring that initial personality and those strict rules stay consistent when you get into really complex multi-turn conversations. It's tricky.
Oh, it's a huge problem, especially under what you might call conversational stress. To help mitigate that prompt drift, the source material really emphasizes using specific structural cues, things like XML tags or forcing JSON output parsing. Basically, you're telling the LLM exactly how to process the information and respond, not just what to process, more structure.
Okay. Then we shift over to the ElevenLabs side, and that's where we define the agent's actual voice persona. You give the agent a memorable name, let's say business assistant, and you develop the system prompt there too. But this prompt seems more focused on the voice delivery, the tone, and setting guardrails like, do not share any personal or financial details except what's absolutely needed for booking.
Exactly, and this is where the action really gets connected. You take that webhook URL you got from your n8n setup, and you link it directly to the tool definitions, get available slots and book meeting right inside ElevenLabs. That link, that specific connection, is the final essential piece for triggering real action directly from a customer's voice command.
So if we've set this all up correctly, what's the single command or instruction within that system prompt that ensures the agent acts responsibly and doesn't say double book a time slot?
The system prompt mandates using the Get Available Slots tool before it's allowed to invoke the book meeting tool. Sequence matters. Mid-roll sponsor, read, placeholder, back. All right, phase 3. This is all about fine-tuning, making it resilient, ready for scale. You absolutely have to address the possibility of webhook timeout issues. What happens if n8n takes too long to respond? The source suggests implementing things like, please wait a moment, messages in the agent's responses during those processing delays, and also setting up retry systems within the n8n workflow itself.
And then you optimize the voice quality itself. Selecting a professional-sounding model, maybe tweaking the speech rate, making sure the voice is clear, understandable, even if the user has a heavy accent. That attention to detail, it seems like it would dramatically increase user trust, wouldn't it?
Definitely. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Scaling up requires moving beyond just basic knowledge-based lookups, and that naturally leads us to vector database integration.
I'm curious about that. What core limitation does a vector database actually solve that a standard, say, relational database just can't handle in this context?
Well, it fundamentally solves the problem of meaning versus just keywords. Think about it. If a customer asks something complex like, what happens if I miss a payment and need to adjust my schedule? A simple keyword search might completely fail. That doesn't capture the nuance. But a vector database, maybe using tools like Pinecone, allows the n8n workflow to search by semantic meaning, the underlying concept, providing much deeper context for highly personalized customer experiences.
Whoa, okay, imagine scaling that kind of system. With a vector database, handling maybe a billion complex, personalized queries simultaneously, constantly recalling past interactions, relevant context, all without lag. It's pretty profound.
And that depth is what unleashes huge business value through what they call multi-tool expansion. Once you have n8n running these workflows, the agent can integrate with almost anything with an API. CRMs like Salesforce or HubSpot handle payment processing via Stripe, send out SMS notifications. Think about the applications. Revolutionizing law firms by having the voice agent collect structured initial case information, or medical practices handling initial insurance verification automatically.
This really explains why it's not just an internal efficiency tool.
Hmm.
It becomes a potential revenue stream. Businesses could actually offer voice AI agent development as a service. You charge for basic setups, maybe $500 to $1,500 one time, or perhaps ongoing monthly maintenance fees.
Yeah, and to make that profitable, especially at scale, you absolutely need performance optimization. That means using techniques like load balancing, spreading high volumes of traffic across multiple n8n servers so no single one gets overloaded, and caching, which is basically saving the results of frequent lookups, like checking calendar availability, to reduce those expensive, time-consuming API calls back to Google Calendar or other services.
Okay, stepping back again. If someone builds this capability today, what's the single biggest competitive advantage this level of deep conversational integration provides them?
I think it offers a fully professional 24/7 conversational customer experience that really sets you apart. It positions you as a first mover in leveraging this tech effectively.
So wrapping this up, what's it all really mean? It feels like the future of business interaction is increasingly built on these structured conversations. And that conversation relies on two critical pillars we discussed: the sophisticated voice interface, like ElevenLabs, and the structured logic engine, like n8n. The crucial takeaway for me is that combination of, let's call it no-code accessibility, at least in terms of building the visual workflow, with truly professional real-time integration into core business systems like calendars, CRMs, databases.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
as these AI agents become genuinely indistinguishable from humans in conversation, the next frontier isn't just what the agent says or what actions it can take. It's going to be how it adapts its tone. Imagine an agent using advanced ElevenLabs features to actually detect frustration in a customer's voice and instantly triggering a specific n8n workflow tool that changes its conversational pacing, maybe lowers its volume, shifts to a more empathetic service style. That's the next level.
That really does move the AI from just being a transactional tool towards becoming more of a relationship manager. We definitely encourage you, the listener, to explore this concept, building these highly specific, tool-integrated AI personas for your own needs or your business needs. The blueprint, as we've discussed, is clearly out there now.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into conversational AI architecture. It's a fascinating space.
Until next time.